looking for additional marketing roles in a new location as well. So he's planning to move. So everything is pretty much brand new. And he hadn't narrowed down his options in terms of industry, in terms of company type, in terms of the role. And I think it just feels like you're kind of spraying your options there. And it takes so much more effort and time on your end when you don't have any industry in your mind. If you do, and if like there is a specific reason why you've chosen that industry, I think it makes the conversation easier for you when you actually get into the interviews. And it also makes it's easier to write your cover letters when you have an industry in your mind that you're passionate about. So you don't have to, but it is more efficient of your time and energy if you actually have narrowed down your options. My strategy would be to narrow down the industries. I'll add that. Specifically, if there, I mean, everyone has, well, you may not be looking at it from a professional standpoint of which industry I want to work in or which industry I would enjoy working in, but you likely have um, certain areas that you're more interested in. I don't know, maybe you like working out a lot, or you're CrossFit. Maybe sports and health industry could be something that you're personally interested in, and that could be an industry that you also consider when it comes to your professional environment as well. Does that is that helpful? Oh, Glassdoor um, for checking reviews and salaries and information, or Glassdoor for applying? I have actually never used Glassdoor to apply for jobs. I think you can do that, but I haven't tried it from that perspective. But I always do check it for reviews. However, I have read in a couple of different sources that some companies actually pay their employees sometimes to write good reviews, or they do a kind of a peer pressure on them to write good reviews. And it's also okay. So you're asking for applying. So I haven't applied through Glassdoor. That's the very short answer, but I do use it for cross-checking reviews, salaries, and potential interview questions that could come up. Applying, I don't know. I would try. Uh, Tony, it's a show of confidence. Yes, it is. I don't know if I would try it. I don't see any reason for it, but why not? Okay, new question. I'm starting my own marketing agency. Do you think it's lucrative to offer social media strategy, content strategy, and social media management, and making a living off of it? Um, I mean, you could definitely make a living off of it, but it doesn't the areas of the service areas that you're offering doesn't actually define whether or not you will be able to make a living off of it. There's so many other things that go into it, as such as your client acquisition strategy, how you position yourself, if you have a particular like a strong area that you're really, really expert in, that would really differentiate yourself and your marketing agency from others. If not, I mean, keep this in mind. There is so many marketing agencies, and unless they have a very specific positioning or a very good client acquisition strategy, maybe you have so many business owners around in your network, and they will be your first clients, and you'll be okay with that. That could be your strategy. But if you don't have those other additional pieces to your business that complement and strengthen your business, um, those are definitely things to think about. If I was, I'm thinking like if I was actually starting a marketing agency or a new consultancy or starting from the very beginning, I would try to differentiate myself with a specific focus. Like that could be maybe your agency is specifically expert in TikTok management for creators or TikTok management for B2B technology companies. That is so specific that it will be very easy for you to differentiate and position yourself and make a brand of your business, and for people to have more trust in your services versus if you were to offer all kinds of services for all kinds of industries. Books for beginners, for digital marketing beginners. I'd actually suggest this is a typical suggestion by me, but I really love Seth Godin's books, almost all of his books, and I think they are really good for beginners in marketing. Um, so I think that's a good start. And then there's so many other books, but Seth Godin is a good start. No, going specific isn't a bad idea. It's actually a better idea when you're starting off, especially with, I mean, as a business owner, it's better to go specific. So I'll give an example about like how being a specific actually helped a friend of mine who launched her SEO agency a couple years ago, actually I think 2 years ago or something. So relatively new. And as you will probably guess, there are so many SEO agencies, local, international. It's very difficult to compete if you don't have a specific position, if you don't have a like a specific area that you're really focused in on. And she initially didn't have that perspective. Like she didn't start off with a specific industry or company type in mind, but soon enough she narrowed it down to a couple of industries, and then nowadays I think she's only focused in on two industries. um, and like she had specific reasons to choose those two industries for an SEO agency perspective, and she's doing really well. So narrowing down always is a good idea. Okay, I see a question from Celine. I don't know. It's not a question. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. It did? Okay, social media management role, you had an interview, it went really well. Do you wanna tell us, um, some of the questions that you had maybe during the interview, or some tips that were really helpful, during your interview? I think that that could be helpful. There's so many people that are actually interested in social media manager, social media specialist roles in the audience, so I find that talking about that is really helpful. Okay, other comment. I have targeted an audience in a major group of church, family, and friends and networks that are actually ready to start businesses but need management and strategy resources. That's great. Okay, so you're gonna likely find your first clients within your own network, which is always the best thing to do. If you don't have a big marketing budget, like a paid ads budget, or you know, in general, to go with paid options to sponsor, to promote your business, it's always the best to look into your own network and then start from there. And also, you can, I mean, if you're just starting out and if you're not feeling like you're the expert yet, but you're getting there, I feel that when you work with businesses that are in your, first network, uh, there is a little more flexibility with making mistakes and learning. And so think of it as if it's your like pilot program in a way. And I'm sure you'll start like you'll grow into a bigger client acquisition strategy afterwards. Oh, thank you, Natalia. Thank you. Do you have a favorite video? I always like to ask that, and I don't ever get a definite answer. But it's I always love to know where people actually discovered the videos. No, it wouldn't be a bad idea to offer Instagram only, especially if you go with specific industries. I think it totally makes sense. It's a good start. If you had to start from scratch with no experience, how would you personally approach trying to get a marketing job? Um, this was actually me. Like I had no marketing experience when I started off. Yes, I had an MBA degree that focused in on marketing, and because I figured out that I was really into content marketing during my MBA program, I did my thesis on content marketing for small business, small to medium businesses. But what actually got me my first ever marketing job was my personal interest in blogging and content creation. I had a website that I had been writing like travel and personal or lifestyle type of blog post. And no, that's not relevant for me to get a job in a technology company, which was my first ever job in the marketing space. But it helped me to it helped me to have a better understanding of what SEO is, what it's like to have a website, what it's like to actually create blogs with an SEO perspective, using the tools. And it was very easy to sell that as an experience to the company that I was interviewing with, which was the first ever marketing job that I got. So again, if I was to start everything all over, with no experience, with no network in the marketing space, I would start something of my own. Right now, I'm really into YouTube. I really, really like making videos, but it could have been something else. Like, if I had just graduated, I could probably do TikTok instead of YouTube. Um, it's it's really something that a lot of companies are looking into transitioning. And I mean, I don't know if it's okay to say this, but older people like myself, we don't get TikTok. So, and think of like even older people than myself that are in the business space. It's like this uncharted territory. So I would probably start something of my own, and I would really focus on something that's not extremely popular, like having a blog. But I would go for something that's a little more deeper, so that I could, become a little bit of a specialist, and I would experiment on my own. Da-da-da. Okay, Celine had an interview with a high tech company. Questions revolved around how to articulate a technical product or topic more easily and how to approach copywriting in that area. Really good questions. Um, and very specific questions. I'm gonna guess that this may not be the first interview. It was probably not with the HR, but it was actually the hiring manager because it's very marketing specific. How you evaluate yourself in both creative and strategical approach. Yeah. This is something that comes up all the time for marketers. Like how do you see yourself on the creative versus analytic or analytical um, perspective? Where you see yourself? How balanced do you feel your abilities or skills are? It comes up so many times, and there's no right or wrong answer to that. Actually, it just depends on what type of role you're interviewing for. That's awesome. Well, hope you hear really good news from them, Celine. Awesome. I'm glad you have these questions and comments. I was ready to sit here all alone for an hour because it was so last minute, and I never did a live stream, so I didn't know what to expect. Tina, your question is really good as well. So many people ask this. I'm glad you asked it. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start freelancing, particularly where to get clients? I've heard sites like Upwork are not beginner friendly. I totally agree. I don't. I I mean, I personally haven't used them, so I can't speak from personal experience, but I'm on the other side of the table, I guess, looking for freelancers to work with from time to time, using Upwork or Fiverr, and it's not very easy to do it as a beginner. Yes, it's a good marketplace to be on, but it's not as easy and as direct and as quick as you might expect. So I would, my client acquisition strategy would be it. I actually talked about this in um, the video that is about marketing side hustles, which was, I think, the third video from the last that I published. Um, in the first couple of minutes, I think I do talk about where to get clients, and my strategy is to actually look around yourself. If I'm just beginning, if I don't yet trust my abilities and I'm just experimenting with the services and trying to set up the business, I would actually go and look into my own network. And then if there are if there are businesses that I am a usual customer of, those could be like local shops, those could be, I don't know, small e-commerce businesses that I, get t-shirts from or something, or I get like office equipment. I would go and approach those people. Or if there are creators that I really am a fan of, I really feel that we have aligned values, and I would go ahead and approach those people. It is a cold outreach, but I feel that, or not feel, I think I'm assured that compared to trying your chances with Fiverr and Upwork, yes, do go ahead and try those as well. But I would also uh, increase my chances by actually doing cold outreach to these people, as well as doing, I guess, warm outreach to people who I already know. And I would offer my services. If I'm just beginning out, if I have zero experience, I would ask for a trial, like a pilot project, maybe even an exchange of mentorship for a week, 2 weeks, or something, and then start to actually promote the services and go from there. So that would be my strategy to get clients. Um, and I do get to work with people who actually do cold outreach to me as well. I mean, I'm just going to start working with a video editor that did an outreach to me just a few days ago, and it was a good one. I mean, it really caught my attention, and now he has a business for himself. So it does work. Maybe you're going to send hundreds of messages and get a couple of responses, but those couple of responses are your first clients. Okay. And okay, thank you for the amazing videos. Thank you as well for watching, for subscribing, for being here, for commenting. I so appreciate you. I've been applying on and off since past 6 months, and all I get is a view or a download. I don't understand what's wrong with me. It's not what's wrong with you, but I don't understand. Where should I start? What should I do? So it could be about, I mean, usually it's very difficult to answer these questions without having more knowledge about what type of jobs you're applying for, with like what your resume, what your cover letter looks like, where you're applying for jobs. Sometimes I talk with people who live in, one country and applying for jobs in a very different country without a work permit, and they feel frustrated because it's not working. They're not hearing any responses. So there could be many different reasons why you're not hearing back. Um, I would take a look at my whole strategy instead of just a resume. So an example I am gonna give is, yesterday I had I coached someone who is looking to get a job, which is going to be his second job in marketing. So it's not even like the first one, but he hasn't been hearing back from his applications, and his original perspective was that it's not happening, it's not going anywhere because of his resume and cover letter. Yes, those were some pieces to why he's not hearing back, but that's not the full picture. um, I personally don't believe in only sending out applications through job boards or application platforms and then just waiting to hear back. I don't think that system has been working for maybe the last 10 years. Um, I have never heard back. I don't know if I can say that because I probably have, but if I was to look at a majority of my applications in the past and how much of those I have heard back only through applying through a job board, I don't think it was a lot. It would probably be like a very limited number of applications that I've heard back only through applying through job boards. I always, if it's something that I'm passionate about, if it's a company that I really, really want to work with, I always connect with people that work in the company. I always connect with the hiring manager, the recruiter who posted the job posting, and I try to introduce myself alongside my application. And it usually just is like a reminder that, I applied, I'm interested. And sometimes just to open up that conversation, just to have something to say to the recruiter, I come up with a question. I don't want to say that, I don't want to send a message and just say, hey, I applied. I want you to know. I just wanted to pop here and, appear on your screen. But I actually come up with a question that positions me as a good candidate and reiterates my interest in that position. So all of those different pieces that you, I guess, include in your job application, job hunt strategy, they could make the difference for you. And if you think it's like, if you're really convinced that it's about your resume, maybe the lack of experience or something, um, number one, try to get feedback from the companies that you're applying for. Like, be very genuine with your ask and try to get the feedback so that you know uh, why they're not returning to your applications. But if you feel that you already know where it's going wrong, then try to work around that piece. Okay, I've been very slow in answering that one. What advice would you give to someone who wanted to start a marketing agency targeted to small business in underprivileged communities? I think that's the complete. If I would complete the sentence, we actually talked about, what or how I would approach starting a marketing agency. Couple of minutes or questions ago, my approach would be to be very like niche down with the services and niche down with the industry, the businesses that I want to work with. Um, one of the major issues when you start your own agency, consultancy, freelance business, however you want to call it, when you go on your own instead of applying for jobs, I think the major question that comes up, major issue that comes up, is actually not deciding on what services you're going to offer, but it's actually the client acquisition. And we talked about what could be some good client acquisition strategies. I think approaching it similar to how you approach job applications is actually a good way. Like, my suggestion is always to narrow down, to look into your own network, try to like start some conversations within your network, see if you can actually do an outreach to businesses that you want to serve with your services, and start there, because that's going to be the client acquisition is going to be the main um, issue that you need to solve before you feel that your agency is kind of standing on its foot. Um, for freelancing, is it a good idea that establishes a personal website and promotes it via social media? Yes, for sure. I mean, it's always important to have your personal website and have social media channels to promote it or to create regular content, because how are you going to get clients unless people know about you? And how are you going to convince prospects that you're having conversations with that they can trust your expertise and that you are a valid, decent person to deliver those services? They always look for social proof. They always look for um, expertise and something to resonate and feel aligned with. So if you have a personal website, or if you have a social media channel where you regularly create content about your business and services, I don't mean to promote it, because people are sick of seeing promotions. If I had a sort, if if think put yourself in your potential customers' shoes and think of what type of content would you prefer to see, would you feel convinced about to work with that person, and the honest answer is usually that not to promote yourself and promote your services, but to actually provide value. So and provide value and proof of your expertise and case studies so that they come to you and they trust in your services and abilities. Okay. I have done PPC digital marketing course. How many months of experience need to work in digital marketing agency? I guess the question is, how many months of experience do I need so that I can get a job in a digital marketing agency? That's what I'm understanding from the question. If that's not correct, let me know. Um, I mean, the answer is you don't need experience to start working in the marketing agency. If if you have a good resume, if you're able to convince the agency owner, the agency recruiter, that you are going to be a good candidate, then I don't see any reason why you need experience, because you're gonna get the experience there as a beginner. I don't know if that's the question. Um, how do you stay motivated with the job search process, especially if you've applied to a lot of jobs and have been through a fair amount of interviews? Really good questions. You it's basically a game, a journey that you are on, and you constantly need to optimize, change your strategy, reassess, knock on different doors. I think there is a job for everyone out there. There is a dream job for everyone out there. Maybe you haven't knocked on the right doors yet, and I know the process is really frustrating. It was for me as well, but would you, maybe the question to ask yourself here is, have I really tried everything I could possibly have tried to find a job that fits what I want and is in alignment with my values? If the answer is yes, I have tried every single thing possible on earth that I could have done, and if you feel really comfortable with that answer, then maybe it's time to change something. But if you haven't tried all doors yet, if you haven't tried all strategies, I think the best way to approach it is that this is temporary. It's going to pass. You are going to find a job that eventually is going to lead you to where you are happy. I'm not going to say it would be very misleading to say that your first job, your second job would be your dream jobs. Sometimes for some people, they are the dream jobs. For me, um, probably until I started to, probably until my sixth company or fifth company, I did not find my right fit. I was very unhappy with the jobs that I had. So it's not only the job search process, but also after you start working with companies, you're going to have these moments of frustration. You're going to have periods of frustration as well. It's just, I guess you have to come to terms with it. That's a part of your career and life decisions in a way. And in the past, I used to only look at it from a career standpoint, and I would only say, I would only think of, I'm not happy at this company, I'm not happy with this role, and I would look for other roles. But eventually, what I realize is what I really prioritize is how it aligns with my own lifestyle as well, and how jobs fit into my um, life and values and priorities in life. So many things to consider. Yes, that's not the answer, but I guess what I was trying to say is that you have to come to terms with the fact that life isn't always going to be very happy or very easy. not in the job search process, not in the work life as well. When you start a job as well, it's not going to be always rainbows and butterflies. You're going to have frustrations. But I guess the answer to that question is that ask yourself if you've tried all options, everything that you could have done, everything that you could have changed. Have you tried different options? If you haven't, I think there is still more to do. Mm, I started to learn marketing, but I'm so shy and unmotivated because I'm afraid to fail. I learned all the basics and will try to get a job, but I'm so afraid. Thanks for amazing videos. Uh, I don't know how to say it, but you cannot be afraid to fail. Um, and it may not stick with you at the moment, but marketing, especially, is all about failing, experimenting, and trying a different method. That is likely the best part about marketing that attracts me is the experimentation. And always ask yourself, like, what is the worst thing that could happen if I fail? People get fired from their jobs because they make mistakes. It's okay. They start again. They find another job. People make, I don't know, like you've probably seen memes on social media. There was actually one company that actually did this like 2 months ago, a very, very big tech company. And they sent out this newsletter that was like a wrong newsletter to thousands of people on their subscribers list, and it became a joke. Like it's a major fail, but it became a joke. And these things happen all the time. Like you send the wrong thing to the wrong group of people, you say the wrong thing in the wrong environment, you make a fool of yourself. But these things are just a part of life, and you just have to um, go with it and not take yourself so seriously. Thank you, Aram. Um, what are the most on-demand skills that makes my resume stand out? Oh, a bit of a areas you're interested in. I'd say a couple of things that are like one thing that will always, always be valid and will stand out is copywriting. If you're really, really good at copywriting, creative copywriting, that's a fantastic skill to have. That's an underrated skill that is never ever going anywhere, I think. Um, I'm gonna say like some things like um, short and long form video creation. Those are really, really in demand skills at the moment. But some things are more trending at the moment, and they may not always be very in demand. Who knows? Like who is to say that, you know, TikTok will exist for the next 10 years? Like maybe it will go away, it will fade away within a couple of months or years. Who is to say that, I mean, Clubhouse was popping just maybe half a year ago, and now I don't even see it that much. So platforms change, but some skill sets um, like copywriting, I said that one, but like I think video creation, I don't think it's actually going anywhere. Teaching online is becoming more and more of a focus for all types of businesses. And you might be thinking like, what, that's not really marketing. But that is actually something that marketers are really focused on and they are seeked out for. So um, that could be something. SEO, that's not going anywhere either. So those could be like all skills that you try to incorporate. But if you're looking for something that is current and really in demand right now, I would look at things that are really specific. I gave one example earlier on, but it was TikTok management, TikTok channel management, or repurposing content for TikTok or reels. That's a huge deal right now, I think. Do you have to know SEO while being a social media marketing? specific. So I think you just mean like, do you have to know SEO if you're a social media marketing focused person? You have to have a basic knowledge. You don't have to be an SEO expert. I'm gonna check if I missed out on any questions. Which courses do you advise for beginners? What skills are hot these days? Skills I actually just mentioned. Like, look at the platforms that are booming. Um, Look at the job posts. So, okay, this is a good tip to understand what skills are hot these days in your market. So you're all in different locations. So what is hot and trending in North America or Canada specifically or America specifically won't be the same as what is trending in France, in Turkey, in Singapore. It will all be very different. Like the platforms that are used in different locations are different. So a good tip that I follow is look at the job posts in your countries, in your locations, to get a feeling of what types of job posts are the most popular these days and what are the skills that are mentioned, what are the requirements mentioned in those job postings. I think that's a very helpful tip to um, understand what would be hot and in demand for your market. So that's just one extra tip in terms of identifying those skills. But from where I stand in Canada or the companies that I'm having conversations with these days, I'm seeing a lot of movement, a lot of interest and attention towards um, repurposing content, short and long form video content creation, um, being like video production in general. That's one thing that I'm really seeing quite a lot. Copywriting, um, never going anywhere, as I said. Those are very, very in demand. Um, Social media management and creating original content for social media, that is not going anywhere either. That's very hot as well. Da-da-da. And the first piece of the question, what courses do you advise for beginners? So, I don't know if you saw the videos on my channel. I do have two videos on courses. One is specifically about HubSpot Academy. The other is free and paid courses. That's actually more for all levels, but there's a lot of information about beginner courses as well. I'd start with HubSpot Academy. Their courses are really, really clear, really easy to understand. They're all free. You get certifications for HubSpot Academy courses. Um, Buffer has a course on social media. Facebook has its own course. Google has analytics courses, more than one. One is for beginners, Google Analytics for beginners. That's actually a course uh, a part of the course, the marketing analytics course that I teach. We want all students to take that course. It's really helpful. Start with there as a beginner, and then I mean, this is like I feel like I'm repeating myself with this, but my suggestion is always to narrow down your focus with what exactly you want to do within marketing, but also and this is not very easy to answer for most beginners. It wasn't easy for me either, though I did really know that I was passionate about content marketing. But if it doesn't come very easily to you in terms of what you specifically like, enjoy in marketing, especially if you haven't tried it out, you can do some self-reflection about your skills and your strong suits. So if you've always been a more analytic person, like more a person who really enjoys working with data, looking at dashboards, playing around with tables, compared to copywriting and content creation and all those things, then maybe you have a starting point there and you can start off with something that's more analytical, and then you realize that that's not for you, and then you can switch. But that self-reflection looking at your own skill sets and talents, that is going to give you at least somewhere to begin. Um, what are the best books to learn copywriting? There's one right behind me actually that you can actually see, but it's called Persuasion, I believe. Um, sorry, I'm actually going to take a look at that because it might be called something else. Here, this one. Okay, this one. This one's a really good one on copywriting. Um, I am not a marketing book fan, so I usually don't have that many marketing book recommendations. I usually read those that I get the inspiration from more like self development or business types of books rather than marketing specific books. But this one's a good one on copywriting. And if you want more suggestions, I do have a list that's not open right in front of me, but I can send you a list of um, books later on. So if you want more, just send me an email. Okay, I worked as an in-house marketing coordinator, but my main skill set is not in digital marketing, um, but campaign management. I guess you mean paid ads management. Usually that's what people refer to when they say campaign management. Do you recommend me to try digital marketing agency to learn more about it? Um, well, yes and no. I mean, you can get more marketing experience, more digital marketing experience, or expand your experience within the company that you work for as well. So, in house doesn't only mean that it's going to focus on campaign management. You can also do other things, whether that means continuing to work in your current company or switching to another company. Um, so yesterday I recommended to someone to he was also looking to get more experience than what he was currently doing to improve his chances to apply for other jobs in a different place. And my recommendation was to ask for more responsibilities within the company first, because you don't need to make a big effort to change your job, to reassess your strategy, blah blah blah. But you can just simply ask for more responsibilities or initiate new things at the company that you work for. um, but if that's not an option, if you're not able to take on more responsibilities and learn more things where you currently work at, then you can try digital marketing agencies, but you can also try other in-house marketing teams as well to expand your skill set. But if you're happy with where you work at right now, then I would actually go and ask if I can take more things on my shoulders where you're at. Is that helpful? No worries. A specific example. I'll give you a specific example because we don't have many questions and we are almost about to end it and the live stream. So the example I gave to the person I talked to yesterday is um, he wanted to get experience with email marketing, and it's currently not his job to do email marketing. They probably didn't even have an email marketing strategy at the company he was working for. So I said, try out, like, convince them, come up with a strategy to incorporate email marketing and have it start an email newsletter. And most email marketing tools are free or have free plans until a certain subscriber limit. So start off with something like initiate that project on your own if that is the type of experience you want. And I don't think you're going to get that much of an objection if you're willing to take that on yourself. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, asking all these questions. I hope this was helpful. I didn't know how it would go actually and what to expect, but hopefully it was helpful. This is something that I do with my students at George Brown on Mondays. So, and we don't do it through the YouTube live stream, obviously, but I do have office hours for them. So I figured, we could make a change for this Thursday. Um, Thanks for being here and have an amazing rest of your day and week. And yeah, I appreciate you being here. Take care, guys.